On the show today, we'll bring you details on the heroin epidemic in Ohio, campus parking, and a report on alcohol sales in the SHU.
As well as highlights of the career fair and the scoop on the changes on Carmen.
All this and more coming up on Buckeye TV.
Hello and welcome to Buckeye TV. I'm Jacob Myers.
And I'm Steph Payano. On today's show, we bring you the story of some world champion Buckeyes, an update on South Campus Gateway, and much more. With the heroin epidemic taking roots in Ohio, hundreds of residents are accidentally overdosing on a deadly mixture. Buckeye TV will tell you what you need to know and how you can get help right here on campus.
The state of Ohio is the center for the heroin epidemic in America. According to CBS, 23 Ohioans die per week, leaving hearts and homes empty all throughout the states. Should Ohio residents be worried? What do they need to know?
That people of all races, all colors, all ages are starting to use substances, becoming addicted to substances, and the people in Ohio are dying at an alarming rate.
In Ohio, in 2015 alone, 1,155 people accidentally overdosed on carfentanil, an extremely strong painkiller. According to the DEA, carfentanil's potency is 10,000 times that of morphine and is used in veterinary practices to immobilize certain large animals. This new drug, laced with heroin, creates a deadly combination.
Everybody should be concerned. If you have a loved one who seems to be abusing or misusing substances, you should encourage them to seek help. So this is a great place to start. If a student feels like they're having some consequences related to their drinking or substance use and want to talk and seek out what types of services are offered to them, they could either come here to the Collegiate Recovery Community. They could find out more about it at the Student Wellness Center in the RPAC. They could go to counseling and consultation services or counseling services on campus. And any one of those places would be willing to support them and help them and give them as much support as they need.
I'm Sarah Katz, reporting for Buckeye TV.
On Tuesday, 2 female students reported separate instances of being fondled by an unknown male on campus. The first incident took place outside of Knowlton Hall around 2:47 p.m. and the second in the Ohio Union around 8:15 p.m. Both women reported that an unknown male asked to sit near them before being fondled in their lower body and fleeing the scene. On Thursday at 3:51 a.m., the Ohio State Police Department tweeted they had worked with Columbus PD to arrest Lonnie Sturdivant in relation to the case.
Mental health awareness impacts people of every race, age, and background, and Ohio State is not exempt from that.
Students may spot something new this year on their syllabi. Trigger warnings are warnings given by professors before potentially offensive lectures. Usually these warnings are for those dealing with grief or anxiety, and they can be particularly helpful to veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, refugees from war-torn countries, and victims of sexual abuse. They often accompany films depicting strong graphic material, but they are also used for books, art, and intense discussions. Students can then choose to excuse themselves from these lectures.
The use of safe spaces and trigger warnings may keep students feeling safe, but is it dangerous for education?
The University of Chicago seems to think so. In acceptance letters to the 2020 class, they have come out against the use of trigger warnings in safe spaces.
I think that one of the reasons you come to a university is to find ideas that are different, that are new, to which you haven't been exposed before. We don't come to a university to isolate ourselves. We come to broaden our horizons and to learn more about people who may differ, may disagree with us, so that we can at least inform ourselves as we formulate our own thoughts and ideas.
If people are allowed to just express how they feel, that creates a dialogue where people can actually, discuss these issues with each other and create some kind of meaningful change.
While some professors have already started using trigger warnings in safe spaces, the Ohio State University has yet to adopt an official policy.
Stay tuned after the break for updates on the change to Canvas and more.
Parking is a hot commodity at OSU, and many community members are left wondering why they struggle to find a parking spot. Jackie Zhang brings us more.
Not so easy to find a parking spot on campus, especially in the garages. Most of the parking spots are occupied between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., except for some special parking spots, such as handicapped, electronic vehicles, and visitor parkings. Most of them are always empty, so I'm gonna interview some students to find out what they think about campus parking. Approximately how long do you need to find a parking spot on campus?
Actually, I only drive around 10 minutes to school, and I need to spend extra 20 minutes to find a parking space.
It takes like 10 to 15 minutes depending on how early I am, sometimes longer if it's a little bit later in the day.
It takes about 20 to 30 minutes depending on when you get here.
Do you have any suggestion for Camper Park to deal with the problem?
Cancel like some short time parking space, for example, like 30 minutes parking space.
Well, there's obviously a limited amount of parking spots, so if there's any way they could probably make more, like for example, maybe there's too many handicap spots, or maybe adding an additional parking lot somewhere.
Lower the amount of guest visitors that they allow in the garage, and just let in people who bought the parking passes.
Here is the Tato Garage. It was 11:35 a.m. on September 16th. There is a whole row of handicapped parking spots on the second floor. It was reconstructed at that time. Now we are at the Lane Avenue Garage. It was 3:30 p.m. and it was still full, except for some handicapped parking spots. The ADA Associator replied me an email saying that the minimum number of disability reserved spaces is set by the regulations under the ADA. They have some flexibility in assigning locations. They survey usage 3 times a year and make adjustments. In addition to the handicapped parking spots, most of those only for electronic vehicles are also empty. Let's see what students think about those spots. What do you think of the number of handicapped parking spots?
I definitely think there's a little bit too many. They are definitely necessary, but there seems to be a lot empty in the mornings, and a lot of students that park in them don't need them.
What do you think about the electric vehicles parking spots?
I mean, I think it's good, but if possible, if they could reduce that, because I know I drive an older car, it would be nice to have more spots where I can park.
This is Jackie Zane from Buckeye TV.
When you're running late to class, parking makes it almost impossible to rely on driving, so many students look for other options. Reporter Steph Payano brings you more on how some are getting to class when walking just won't cut it.
Some students at Ohio State can be overwhelmed with how big the campus is, but many have found their own preference for how to get to their classes.
I usually just walk, actually, depending upon when the next bus is coming. I'll usually bus over to Ag Campus, but most of the time I just walk. I'm a really impatient person, so I'd rather just walk than wait 7 minutes for a bus or something.
I usually walk, or I take my scooter sometimes, or the bus if I feel lazy. I don't like having to rely on the bus to get me to class.
Another option for students to get around campus is renting vehicles. Zagster allows students to pay a $35 annual fee and ride up to 2 hours at a time for free.
I used it a little bit last year, but I didn't like that you had to park it back in the spot that you found it, or one of the little parking spots for it. I thought that was a little annoying.
For Car2Go, students pay as they go. There's no annual membership fee, but they can pay 41 cents a minute or $15 for the hour with gas and parking included.
I think Car2Go is convenient because it's not everyone has a car on campus, so it's a nice way to get around.
Walking seems to be the most common choice for students. However, thanks to third-party and campus-provided vehicles, students are able to choose which method of transportation fits them best. Reporting for Buckeye TV, I'm Steph Payano. There's been a lot of frustration on campus lately because of the new Canvas program. Let's meet Emily on the Oval to see what Ohio State has to say about it.
Starting this school year, Ohio State has dropped the Carmen program and added on the Canvas program. There has been mixed reviews across campus from professors and students alike. Let's talk to a few of them and see what they have to say.
I think it's a little confusing to learn. I was a pretty big fan of Carmen, and I just thought it was pretty straightforward, and I don't really understand why they switched. It's really been difficult. I haven't found myself unable to do my assignments. It just takes me a little bit longer to find everything.
OSU freshmen with no experience with Carmen had a different opinion on Canvas.
It's decently easy to navigate, I would say, and it makes it nice to have everything in one spot.
Though most are a little frustrated with the new Canvas program, almost everybody has hope that they'll be able to adjust, and the only thing they'll need is a little time to get used to it.
Might take a couple years just because our generation's so used to Carmen, but I think in 3 or 4 years the kids who are freshmen now will be used to it.
I think it's been a pretty steep learning curve for me personally, but I went to a workshop last Friday and it helped a little bit. I think that as we get used to it, it will probably be functional, very functional.
This is Emily Kapp reporting with Buckeye TV.
Many people think of football when they hear Ohio State, but OSU offers much more than just athletics. The university was recently ranked number 36 in the top public research universities. Join our reporter Elizabeth as she explores a project that's one for the storybooks.
Ohio State faculty is always working on something new and exciting. Join Buckeye TV as we find out a little bit more about these projects.
What we do at Project Narrative is we study stories, and the idea of Project Narrative is to get together the best people in the world who understand stories, how they work, how they do, and both teach students, but also do high-level research and bring in researchers from around the world to hold events. One thing we do every summer, which I think is a great experience, is we bring in about 40 or 60 Columbus high school students, and we run a summer camp for them. And the summer camp is called the Humanities and Cognitive Sciences High School Summer Institute. And so we talk a lot about how the brain works, how stories work, how all these things work together. And if you're a student here, you can be essentially one of the TAs or one of the kind of like little teachers for that class, you know, and you can come in and you have your own group of high school students. It only lasts a week, so it's a fairly low commitment kind of a thing, but it's a chance to work with some smart people and do some cool things. Because the interesting thing about stories is they impact everything we do. So stories impact politics, stories impact business, and then of course stories just impact our personal lives and how we relate to other people and how we feel and how we go about our days.
I'm Elizabeth Zagurnis for Buckeye TV.
With the thought of the future looming, students can sometimes be overwhelmed trying to find their next step in their professional career. Buckeye TV reporter Caitlin Sack brings you more on what the university is doing to help students lock down their future.
The career fair is going on in the Ohio Union Grand Ballroom September 13th and 14th with students hoping to land internships or careers after graduation. The Buckeye Careers Program, which put on the event, is Ohio State's university-wide office for career development support system for all Ohio State students. With over 160 companies present at the Fall Career Fair, students of all majors and ages were encouraged to visit booths of multiple companies.
I think the most important thing about students that come talk to us is to have a really confident personality and to be confident in their skills and their previous internship experience. And also to be able to ask the right questions, you know, ask about the company culture. We love talking about our company culture and really being able to talk about what makes Capital One special.
The university held workshops that allowed students to prepare properly for the career fair, including drop-in resume reviews and mock interview practice and feedback sessions.
I'm just kind of hoping to find an internship maybe for the summer and just gain some connections with potential companies for the future.
For Buckeye TV, I'm Caitlin Sack.
After the break, we'll give you a look at a couple of Ohio State's champions.
The scene of a Buckeye football game in Ohio Stadium is a timeless but ever-changing one. With the installation of beer sales throughout the shoe this season, many wondered how this would affect general game operations. A big concern was disorderly conduct and the safety of those in attendance. Reporter Jacob Myers has a story on how alcohol sales at the shoe have worked thus far.
In the middle of the summer, OSU announced stadium-wide beer sales for the 2016 season, the first time ever in Ohio Stadium. Expanding from the decision to permit alcohol sales in the club and suite level in 2015, the revenue generated from beer sales this season is being used to fund 2 new full-time officer positions. University spokesperson Dan Hedman said there's a collaborative effort between multiple departments, including OSU PD, on game day Saturdays to ensure safety for students and fans. According to information provided by Hedman, ejections and arrests have gone down considerably from last year. According to information provided by Hedman, stadium arrests and ejections have gone down considerably this season. Last year in the season opener against Hawaii, there were 10 ejections from the stadium and 1 arrest, Bowling Green saw just 1 arrest and 2 ejections. Tulsa, same results. Only 1 arrest and no stadium ejections. The Northern Illinois game last year had 2 ejections and 4 arrests. Molly Kurth, Director of Operations for Levy Restaurants, the stadium's concessions provider, said her staff went through responsible alcohol training with the Ohio Investigative Unit. Kurth added that it's important for her staff to understand liability issues as well as signs of intoxication.
We feel like the process has actually gone very well. The partnership with Ohio Investigative Unit was really important for us because they're there as well, and so they can help teach and train throughout the year, as well as our staff being able to monitor and recognize when issues are happening. So we haven't had any issues this season.
Although Hedman added that they are going to wait till the end of the year to draw any conclusions, the collaborations between several departments to ensure safety on game days has bared fruit thus far. Reporting for Buckeye TV, I'm Jacob Myers. Have you ever wondered how student athletes excel in their sport and stay on top of their schoolwork? Let's hear from Tia Williams at the Yonkin Success Center.
It's no secret that student athletes have a lot on their plate. In fact, the NCAA requires every student athlete to complete 6 credit hours just to remain eligible. They also have to complete their university's GPA requirements. However, the NCAA's most recent study stated that there is an 83% graduation rate in D1 schools. I'm here at the Ohio State University Student Athlete Learning Center, the Yonkin. We're going to hear how Ohio State student athletes are so successful.
How it works is most of the coaches require hours of study for their student athletes. A lot of times it's 8 hours. So part of the way the students can actually get those 8 hours is we have the ability for them to sign up for tutoring and get actually reinforced instruction for each of the given classes.
Ohio State's tutoring system makes it easy for student athletes to stay on top. Over 100 tutors are available at any hour of the day at the Yonkin Success Center, located on Neal Avenue.
School can be tough for many students, but this next group of Buckeyes in particular have a lot of weight on their shoulders.
I'm here outside of Columbus Lifting Company in Worthington, Ohio, where members of the Ohio State powerlifting team train. After coming off a world championship, they're here looking to get stronger than ever. Established in 2012, the OSU powerlifting team currently has between 60 to 70 active members who compete, and the team has already found success.
We won like the first national championship in raw collegiate history, so it's like good to get the program off to a good start. And we've all been working hard for a while, so it's nice to see it come to fruition.
Getting to go was awesome, like being able to represent Ohio State and the country. We were one of 2 men's teams that were elected to go. Leading up to it, we had a really, really intense, like 12-week block that 8 of us ran simultaneously to prepare for it. And it prepared us really well. Like we all obviously went in and performed well. We were able to win. But it really did, it beat us up. Like we trained our butts off for the meets.
While winning a world championship was rewarding, it's the team atmosphere that members find most worthwhile.
We became really close recently, and it's good to just have some friends that you can do something you love with and work hard with.
I suppose I really enjoy the community of the club, which is just kind of like the competitiveness, what I said. Being around like-minded people all the time, it becomes much easier to find motivation to work out.
The powerlifting team isn't just for those who fit the traditional mold. The sport is growing for lifters of all genders and levels.
Yeah, it's definitely growing a lot. I think Instagram is helping with that because people are seeing that, a girl powerlifter doesn't have to be like some huge girl that looks like she's jacked up on steroids. Like, we have all weight classes and girls at every size, so.
I want us to be beginner friendly. Like, I want people to approach us wanting to get stronger. And I hope that we can be a resource for them to get stronger, and also that we continue to win national and world championships. So I want us to perform at the highest level possible.
Moving forward, the OSU powerlifting team will be trying to lift to even further heights. For Buckeye TV, I'm Alexa Mavrogiannis.
Athletes aren't the only ones accomplishing great things at Ohio State. A group of student and graduate automotive electrical engineers work for Venturi Automobiles based out of Monaco to create the Buckeye Bullet 3. The electric vehicle broke its previous world record of 307.6 miles per hour on Monday, by reaching a 341.4 miles per hour. The test took place in Utah on a dry salt track.
We've got more coming up, including a story on the future of South Campus Gateway and an environmentally friendly change on campus. Stay tuned. Gateway Plaza on the outskirts of South Campus has recently encountered closings of two of their most popular restaurants. Eddie George's Grill and Cold Stone Creamery both closed their doors this past year. But what does that mean for the future of this area? Hunter has the story.
I'm here at Gateway Plaza, where two restaurants have recently closed, leaving two vacant spots. This brings up the question, is this going to be an ongoing trend? I'm here to ask students and see what their opinions are about the subject.
Gateway Plaza, a place to grab a bite to eat, get some drinks with friends, or to catch a movie. Ultimately, it is a good spot for students to socialize. Will this closing of Eddie George's Grill and Cold Stone Creamery affect the business at Gateway?
I think it does. I think a lot of people went to Eddie George's, and definitely Cold Stone. That was pretty popular. So I think it definitely takes a little bit of a hit.
What kind of addition do you think would help increase popularity at Gateway?
I know that they just opened like a clothing boutique here, and I think that was really nice just because it's like really restaurant oriented and maybe more like shopping would be nice, but maybe like relevant to college students. So I know that they have like a Terva store, which I don't think is that like special to college students. So I don't know, maybe like another clothing store, like an Ohio State specific store maybe where you could buy Ohio State clothes.
The general consensus seems to be that these recent closings may affect business at Gateway Plaza, but simple new additions can resolve these issues. Fortunately for fans of these two venues, Cold Stone is a national chain and can be found all over the Columbus area, and Eddie George's relocated and is now open in Grandview.
One establishment that has stayed constant in the South Campus Gateway is the Film Center. Brianna has more on what sets the venue apart from others.
Oscar season is approaching, and many Hollywood studios are gearing up to release their critically acclaimed films. The Gateway Film Center raises the bar for your movie-going pleasure and creates an intimate and unforgettable experience. The 8 Auditorium Independent Theater is located in the South Campus Gateway Plaza and serves as Ohio State's answer for the demand of a movie theater and also provides a place to hold classes. When you walk into the theater, you'll find an open-aired lobby which houses the box office and the concession stand. I sat down with Vice President John Umland, and he says,
Of the primary commitments of the Film Center is to be inclusive. I mean, a huge reason why we do what we do is we want to make sure we create a space around movie and movie events where everyone feels safe and welcomed.
The Gateway Film Center is not your typical movie theater. It offers some pretty convenient services, such as a lounging area if you've arrived to your movie too early, the Torpedo Room, which offers fully serviced dining and a full bar, and they'll even validate your parking. The most unique service that they offer is a movie-themed art gallery. The price for these cool services? $6.50 with your Buckeye ID, and they even offer a membership which includes free unlimited movies and popcorn.
Ohio State is constantly trying to innovate, and dining services is no exception. Carissa has more about a change that is new to dining this year.
As Americans, we throw away over 35 billion plastic bottles a year, but OSU is looking to change that with their new sustainability project, My Cups. My Cups are environmentally friendly and can help students save some money while eating on campus. Every student who purchased a meal plan received a personalized cup which allows 10 free uses at any student-led dining hall and $1 refills at any Coca-Cola machine on campus. Two juniors at Ohio State, Colin and Brody, agreed that the project is a great step for the university. But according to the two RAs, there have been some minor mishaps. While there have only been a few problems with the cups, many students like Sasha really enjoy the convenience of using them. Reporting with Buckeye TV, I'm Carissa Nardo.
That's all the stories we have for you today. For Buckeye TV, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Steph. Make sure to keep tuning in to Buckeye TV for your Ohio State updates. Thanks for watching.